Welcome to the Rigatoni Capital podcast on Substack, and you can find this on YouTube. I'm here with my co-host David Winchell, also known as Golf Winch, also known as Bitcoin for Presidente.
Bitcoin for president, Bitcoin for
Oh,
presidents. It's a play on
presidents.
words.
Yeah. How you doing tonight?
Doing well, man. How about yourself?
Yeah, pretty good, pretty good. So we're gonna have a casual discussion about something important, and that is hopefully a book that is coming out by you, which is going to be called On Selling Weed, and hopefully it'll be on Amazon sometime next week. Is that correct?
That's correct. It's on selling weed, but it's not all about weed. It's a three-part book. So the first chapter is about cannabis, second chapter is about money, third chapter is about like me and my thoughts. And then it goes on like that for 21 chapters. It goes weed, money, and then autobiography or my thoughts.
Gotcha.
But
All
so
right, cool.
it's actually 3 years. It's kind of like a memoir. So 3 years ago, 2023, I wrote 21 chapters, and then I wrote it in longhand, so I didn't want to publish it. Or I
What was 21
wanted
chapters about? This?
it. So
Those
like I
three part
said,
those
it's
three
those three
parts?
parts, yeah. And it
Gotcha.
goes, first weed, second. So I wrote it in 21 days, August 1st through August 21st, because I thought I might have some issues. And then I got put in prison for
Hmm.
4 months, not too long after that,
Four
on
and a half months in prison.
August 30th was when I went in prison. So I
Okay.
got out. I had the book in longhand, and that was just my 21 chapter book. So then I don't type well, and I didn't get it published. So I'm like, well, I might as well make it a bigger book and write again. So August 1st, 2024 came along, and I wrote another 21 days in
Hmm.
longhand, like I'd fill
Yeah.
3 pages each chapter, and it did the same, weed, money, and then my thoughts. So then I was typing the book out, wanted to publish it, but I'm procrastinating. It's taken so long, and I didn't really think about how I was going to publish it and all that. So then it becomes 2025, and I'm like, well, I might as well just hold off and write one more, make it a three-year project with 63 chapters.
Gotcha.
Now it's finally done because I'm changing my plea and just gonna accept what happens, plead mercy basically in my weed case. That's bogus situation that I got myself in.
Yeah, so we're going to talk about that. We're going to talk about the book. We're going to touch on Bitcoin as well. What I want to know is today, this is being recorded on January 21st in the evening. Bitcoin is trading. I'll try to share my screen at 91.
Is that
Does that?
91 already?
No, I lied.
No, I was gonna say it was at 90. I checked.
Yeah, let's see if I can share my screen real quick because I get a let's see, I get a photo for the podcast this way sometimes, or the cover photo.
Oh,
Um, so Bitcoin's trading at 90. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to post this likely on Friday morning, January 23rd. So this is all delayed. Sometimes we used to go over the stock market. There's no reason to do that because whatever happened today is going to be a completely different story on Friday morning, the way the news and geopolitics and everything going on. But yeah, I mean, just probably 2 hours ago, we got the news that tariffs come. Trump is backing off of the tariffs, and there was some kind of deal with Greenland where we'll probably have some kind of presence there, but nobody knows shit. And I guarantee Trump doesn't know shit either. He's just saying, roll off the tariffs, and he's happy with whatever they discuss. He's going to let his minions make the final trade deal, or the final deal on Greenland. But we're not going to buy Greenland. That's what also part of the news.
Yeah, well, I heard the news that we were going to have 24-hour stocks on the New York Stock Exchange not too long, sometime this year. So that
That
was
news broke a few days ago.
yeah, that was kind of crazy. I can't imagine how that's going to be. It's
Yeah.
going to be interesting.
Yeah.
Circuit breakers are going to be harder to work when that happens.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah. I wonder, what do you think that does with Bitcoin in terms of Bitcoin being a 24/7 liquid asset?
I
I
think
mean,
Bitcoin kind of forced their hand because Bitcoin is the liquidity lever at this point, and they don't want Bitcoin to be. I mean, the bankers out there that basically control the government, they definitely don't want Bitcoin to be the hegemonic asset of the world, and that's obvious by the games they've been playing for at least the last 2 to 4 years. So we'll see what happens, but Bitcoin only goes up because the dollar is only being debased, and we're just looking at Bitcoin in dollar terms. When people
sure.
start looking at Bitcoin in gold terms, then you'll really, because that's the true measure. Because gold is actually the true money. We've just been
Yeah,
debauched through our life because we're in a generation that's lost its focus on what currency is and what money is.
sure.
Nobody asks the question, "What is money?"
Ye- Yeah. Yeah, for sure. So, anything else happened in the news that I missed during my trip? Other than Greenland, tariffs, Netflix earnings.
I like
That's
that
all I care about.
one. Yeah, I haven't heard anything major. The news to me is just a propaganda machine. When I hear real news, it's like there's no getting away from it. There's it like leaks out or something, and then it's just there's no way to hide it. So it just becomes, like the good lady that got shot. That was kind of sad and just a mess. And
Yeah,
it reminds me of the Charlie Kirk thing. You see left wingers all excited about Charlie Kirk getting murdered. Now you see right wingers all celebrating. She effed around and found out. Like people are losing their like mind,
yeah,
right and left. I'm on the right or I'm on the left. You're still a human being, and people don't deserve
yeah,
to die for whatever.
right.
These are two
Y-
senseless killings.
Yeah, so you're really just Team Orange.
Yeah, I see Bitcoin kind of holding the government accountable because they can't print more money, and it
Hmm.
holds a nice mirror up for the currency that they use to control the masses, and they're losing that control in real time. But
Hmm.
it's very, very early. So we're so
Yeah,
early, it's sick. Like when
yeah.
you see green candles every single day because they can't, hide what's going on, that's when you're late.
So do you think that's what's reflecting in gold?
Yeah, I think gold is being moved forward by the bankers, gold and silver, because this is a new way to combat uh, Bitcoin, and it's kind of like, hey, look over here, because what are people going to start shaving off silver and gold and start using it to spend? I mean, we're living in a different age now. We're in a digital age, and Bitcoin's digital money, but it's not controlled by them, so they hate it.
Yeah, yeah,
They want the CBDCs, or what they're calling them now is stable coins. They want the stable coins to take hold, you to use these things that they can shut off, and
yeah,
there's not, it's a war of the mind now.
yeah.
There's no more playing nice. All war is based on deception. That's
Yeah, but the deception that we're talking about is about money. And what is money?
yeah.
We're trying, the powers to be are still trying to convince people of what's money, maybe.
Well, just
Um,
think of this: when they do 24/7 stocks, your Netflix shares are now money. You can
yeah,
cash it out, convert it, and then go spend it at Starbucks.
sure.
It's going to be that quick. It already is pretty
It's
quick.
like that almost. Yeah.
Robinhood, you go on Robinhood, that fancy app that I hate because of the GameStop debacle, which turned me into a Bitcoiner, so I appreciate it.
Yeah. They're
And
they're
um,
tokenizing assets,
yeah, I mean,
thinking that it can be
tokenizing
used as a
assets,
form of money. Yeah.
exactly. Everything is money when it becomes. I mean, it's subjective value, and that I go into that in my book. I turn money into subjective value because money is what you value, and
Yeah.
money is just another phantasm of a word for what I say money, what you think of money is different from what I think of money, and it's just we're you know conversing and trying to bring my idea into your mind and vice versa. So when we say Bitcoin is money, well, that could be interpreted 9 million ways, you know.
Yeah. So this might be the last podcast we do together for quite some time. Hopefully it's not. I'm praying it's not. I'm praying for you. I'm praying for your family. I hope everything works out next week, or whenever. What I guess, you know, wanted to kind of get from you is, this Cantalone effect that everybody talks about in the Bitcoin world and in the gold world. And, it's not like a conspiracy theory. It's real, right? I mean, it's based off of printing a lot of money and then it trickling down to only people that are at the top. When there is money printing and liquidity, the people at the top, like big banks and everything, this is causing, we believe, asset prices to go up first before, your coffee goes up in the grocery store. I just want to get your quick thoughts on that before we get into your book, because it's
Yeah,
something I've been thinking about more lately.
Cantillon effect or can't. It's based on a
I
guy.
pronounced it wrong, I'm sure.
I think it. Well, no, I've heard it pronounced both ways, so I don't know the proper pronunciation, but I've heard it. It's I think the guy. It's based on the guy's name, so how
Richard, yeah. Richard
pronounce it. Yeah,
Cantalone, yeah.
it's just whoever's closest to the money printer, not like in a physical way, but whoever gets the money first, gets the advantage. And with asset prices, that's I don't know if that ties into it, but think of it this way: what if somebody the money fairy dropped off $1 million on everyone's door in Chicago, and then the following day they dropped off those $1 million to everyone else in America? Well,
Hmm.
Chicago would have a very happy day or 24 hours because they would have the money first, and the rest of the people that got the money, it would be so much less money. The value would be significantly less because all the people in Chicago just flooded the market. And that's kind of a very broad analogy, but it's basically whoever gets that big money first, and spends it, then everyone else is left holding the bag because their dollars that they're working for is worth less. And I don't know if that explains it very good, but it's
Yeah,
it's a way of the rich getting richer and or
sure.
and the poor just kind of staying poor.
Yeah, I'm sure there's like books like really diving into the
Oh
specifics and giving historical reference.
yeah, it's basically just saying the Cantillon effect is uh, whoever's close to the money printer gets the biggest advantages, and most
Yeah,
of the politicians and big corporations that sit right next to them and collect.
yeah. So let's talk about your book, which is titled, I already forgot, On Selling Weed. You can't really forget that. So, what were you doing? Selling weed and you got arrested?
No, no, actually, I got caught up in some real estate game that was the guy who was in business with me, or I got into business with, was a weed. I mean, he would sell large amounts of weed, and I dibbled and dabbled. I'm not saying I'm like a non weed. I was a weed smoker, and I've sold some weed, but nothing what they they put on my head, making me like this. I'm literally termed a DTO, drug trafficking organization in this case. So they made me out to be this mogul and said I laundered millions of dollars, and I've been selling weed to the tune of, from 2017. This is what the alleged charges are. From 2017 to 2019, I sold over 2,000 pounds of weed, which is like, I don't know, maybe like 200. That's 2,200 pounds. Or no, I'm sorry. Yeah, 1,000 kilograms. So that
Hmm.
1,000 kilograms, they had to make it that because that carries a 10-year minimum. So they basically backed the story into that. So if you get and it's all based on like their their fictitious math, so to speak. So they got, I never even got arrested with any weed. They raided my house in 2019, and like 40 agents, FBI, DEA, the IRS with guns and flap jackets. Like,
Hmm.
they didn't arrest me because I didn't have any weed. They detained me, and they confiscated every computer, phone in the house, and like ransacked my house. Got up, did just what they do,
Hmm.
looking for anything and everything. And they took some stuff. What's funny is they left the precious metals, but anyway, so
Well,
then,
what's weird is that this is federal. I guess, every state has their own laws. Weed is legal in New Jersey, for retail, but it's probably got to be done by a established dealer that
yeah,
sells it, right? And in Pennsylvania, it's only medical, so you have to just go through a medical card. And this was federal, so it wasn't the state that
no, it
got you
wasn't.
in this trip.
No, it was all federal. FBI. Uh, the spearhead was, or the tip of the spear was, the IRS, and I can read a room, so I kind of know who's in charge, and you could tell
Yeah.
that was in charge was the IRS guy. And well, anyway, so I moved out to California in 2020, January. And then, and I stayed in contact. I got a lawyer, I was like, well, what's going to happen from this? And they're like, well, nothing, you're not under arrest, nothing happened, because I didn't get caught with any weed. But they went, not too long after that, they like visited 15 or more of my friends and acquaintances, and like harassed them, and did everything, scared the living bejesus out of them.
Hmm.
So anyway, I'll try and make it a little shorter because the story gets gets a little crazy.
But this is in the book, all the details.
uh a lot of them, yeah. I mean, i don't uh I don't overwhelm the reader with my story, because I think it's about, you know, I think there's bigger pieces to the puzzle. The history, I get into the history of selling weed, like not selling weed, but why it was made illegal. If you dive into the history of cannabis, 1937, these laws were put on the books. And when you go back, nobody even smoked weed in America. Nobody even knew what weed was. Like it wasn't psychoactive drug. They did it to subjugate the Mexicans. That was when immigration, like they would come over, and the farmers, like the Mexicans, would smoke it to endure the hard labor. So they passed it through Congress when, and Congress didn't even know. Nobody in the whole that was voting on it knew what weed was about. And one guy stayed after, I guess, and was like questioning, well, what was this all about? you know, like like the Federal Reserve, the money, 1913 passed it right before Christmas time.
Hmm.
But anyway, so back to 2020, then COVID hits. So I'm out here. My family moves out in June, and I was going to get into the white market of weed, wholesaling, and there's all kinds of different avenues in California. It's the weed capital of America, and you can find all sorts of different jobs in the industry. So I was going to get into um, distribution, like how do you say it? Like curating, uh,
Hmm.
procuring. That's the word I was looking for. So where you like
Hmm.
find the best farmers, and you know then have like dispensaries or big brands that package it up, make it look all neat. But
Yep.
I knew farmers, and I knew some people in the industry. The number one, there's a place or a company called NorCal Cannabis, and they're the number one vertically, or they were the number one vertically integrated company in California, and I knew some of the people that were in that business. So anyway,
Hmm.
I get out here and trying to get that going. My wife gets out here. We have, whatever kind of issues, and it's not going the greatest. She's, COVID was a nightmare.
Hmm.
Everyone knows the kids are home and
Yeah.
wearing masks, and everyone's trying to give you this mandated shot, which I never ended up taking. And
Yeah.
my wife's a nurse, so she's
Hmm.
in that. And then basically 2022, they indict me, and that was in the fall of 2022. So now I'm indicted. I didn't think they were. I thought they were just gonna, you know, not not do anything with it. It was over.
Sure.
So then I get indicted, and I'm like, I go check in, and they let me out. Now I'm on pre-trial, um, probate. I don't know what they call it, but
Hmm.
pre-trial release. So nothing has changed. It's just I'm I'm supposed to show up when I need to show up and all that. So I get a lawyer. This gets a little complicated because I got this guy Milan Kesik, who's the guy who's a multimillionaire, and I don't know if he's into some type of government
Hmm.
entity or has friends in the government, but he
Hmm.
hired me this corrupt defense lawyer who ends up getting me put in jail. Now, the defense lawyers are supposed to keep you out of jail.
This was in 2022.
This is in 2022/2023. And so 2023, I got this lawyer. It's like January, February, March. I get into a head-on collision in January 2023. I cracked my sternum right here, the seat belt. It was a bad accident, and I'm dealing with this case. So this guy who was a former federal prosecutor, Kevin Milner, is hired by Milan Kesik because I don't have any money,
Hmm.
not enough to hire lawyers. I'm basically out of work. I'm not doing anything in the weed industry because they don't want
Yeah.
anything to do with you if you have a case, because then the feds
Hmm.
are after you, and it's federally illegal. Even the states have no rights over that. So that guy Milner, he's telling me I got to take a plea bargain, and I'm like, why would I take a plea bargain? I didn't even get caught with any weed. This is a non. They're making me out to be someone I'm not. This is all BS. I didn't launder any money because three of the charges are money laundering.
Hmm.
You didn't launder any money. I don't have any money. You have to launder it into something that you have.
Yeah.
So they got me, you know, trying to push me into a plea bargain, and I'm like, I'm not taking a plea bargain. This I would like to go to trial and plead not guilty. And so then I tell the Milan guy like, this guy's not doing anything for me. You got to get rid of him or don't pay him the other 25 grand because he gave him 25 grand, and then
Hmm.
uh, he was going to give him another 25 grand, but I was like, don't give him. We'll get a different lawyer. And he's like, well, I'm going to give it to him anyway, which didn't make any sense to me. And I get into it with the guy, and I got all these text messages, saved, but I get into it with this lawyer, and he eventually, I mean, he cursed me out and hung up the phone on me like two or three different times. But finally, like in May, yeah, it was May, he was like, I can't represent you any longer. So I'm like, okay, he quit. So I'm thinking I got to get a new lawyer because my trial or court date is like, I don't know, August, November, somewhere in the fall. I don't remember. It's quite a while. But anyway, he calls me up. This lawyer calls me up randomly on in July of 2023 and says, I got to get a mental competency test. I'm like, what are you talking about? You're not even my lawyer. Why would I need a mental competency test? He's like, the court has ordered you to take a mental competency test. So this guy went behind my back, submitted uh, some letters that my dad, my mom, and my sister wrote to him, and got uh, basically had the court order a mental competency test saying I was not competent enough to go to trial for this weed thing. This doesn't even make any sense. It's logic is not even on the table anymore. So I'm like, you're full of it. I'm like, who ordered this? He's like, the court. I'm like, well, who's the court? He goes, the judge. I go, so what judge? He goes, Kohler, Judge Kohler, which I guess was a judge that was on my case in the beginning. And then I look back, and it's not Judge Kohler who ordered it. It's this Judge Radovich, who I guess is a magistrate. Then I come to find out about these letters my dad and my mom and my sister wrote because I was telling them the story, which is the truth, but the truth sounds a little crazy because this Milan guy and the real estate deal and him being in government, it all gets a little hairy when you
Hmm.
start boiling it down. And so anyway, I'm not taking a mental competency test because I'm mentally fine, and I'll go to trial anytime. Let's go to trial. And so then I go to this judge meeting. It's the judge, me, and Kevin Milner that I'm forced to go to, and it's not even a Zoom video. It's just a phone call. We all call in,
Sure.
and and the Kevin Milner guy plays dumb. Like, I haven't talked to him. I don't know. He didn't go do it. And then the judge is like, well, uh, I have no choice but to revoke your bond, and the marshals are going to pick you up. And I'm like, that's nonsense. I'd self surrender. You don't have to send the marshals to pick me up. I said, if I'm under arrest, I'll go self surrender. I don't. There's no reason to arrest me. I'm not a threat.
Hmm.
Not too long after that, the marshals come to my house and scoop me up. I get thrown in. I get thrown into Santa Rita, California prison. I get diesel therapy, they call it. I learned this term in prison, but where they move you around and make you uncomfortable. I got moved 11, no, 12 times in 4.5 months, 7 different prisons. I was in MCC Chicago 3 different times. And ultimately, they gave me a 52-day stay in Lexington where they gave me a mental competency test by force, by their doctors. And I passed. I'm mentally competent enough to stand trial. Meanwhile, my friend Kevin, who's up in um, like north of Chicago, he gets me new lawyers, and they get me out on January 11th, 2024. And that's when I start. While I was in Lexington, is where I learned a lot about the law and how there's docket sheet, all this stuff, but it's just criminals upon criminals inside there. As far as the people that were getting me screwed over, especially that Kevin Milner guy and Milan Kesik. But they're intertwined in the story because I had $1 million basically was wired to my bank account from Milan Kesik to do this real estate stuff, and that's where the heat came from, and that's the money I was using that with I started a company called Cole Properties, which is a real estate company in Illinois. We were buying high-end homes, fixing them up, and selling them or renting them out. And the guy I got involved with was Kevin Smith, who had been arrested for weed. And
Hmm.
he didn't tell me that when I got into
Yeah.
business.
Yeah.
So that's the
So,
long
but
and
your
short.
book is about selling weed,
Uh,
correct?
it's
The
not all.
first part.
No, it's mainly about like the history of cannabis and you know how weed is kind of like a free market because the government doesn't have control on it. It grows out of the ground. So without go when they legalized it, all they did was just put their shackles on it and are taxing it. So even the
Yeah.
people, they even the growers out here, they don't like it ruined the industry when when the government got involved. That's what happens. Government gets involved and it just ruins everything. But in defense, I mean, a lot of the price of weed was probably pushed up because it's illegal across the country. So I remember when an ounce of good weed was trading the same price as gold, and I was like, this doesn't seem right.
Yeah.
It was like $350 for an ounce of gold, and it was like $400 for an ounce of good weed.
Hmm.
That was way back in the day. I've always been in the weed industry because I've been smoking weed since I was 18 years old, 17, 18.
Yeah. I
And
mean, what were you doing?
mainly
Oh,
just smoking or buying and selling to smoke for free or hooking up to
yeah.
nothing. I always worked. I was a pizza delivery guy. Then I was doing um, bartending. After that, I got into the finance industry. I'd always start my own business. I was like that kind of
Yeah.
entrepreneur guy.
Sure. You started investing or gambling podcast?
Yeah, that didn't make any money, but it was fun.
Yeah.
No,
Hmm.
I was doing. I became a financial advisor for a while there because um, in 2000 I quit smoking weed for like 4 years and became an alcoholic.
Hmm.
I I don't drink much anymore. A little whiskey neat here and there, but mainly weed's just been a good um, I don't know, a good relaxer for me. I don't think of it as a hard drug. It's not. It doesn't.
Kind of like an unwind instead of drinking a glass of wine at the end of the day or something. Yeah.
I could smoke weed and go read a book. I could smoke weed and go do hard labor.
Sure.
But
Yeah.
I haven't smoked any weed since I got out of prison because
Hmm.
I'm not allowed to. They after they ran me through the ringer. Not only did they give me 4.5 months of diesel therapy and jail time for no reason. Like I didn't do any crime to warrant that. But when I got out, I had harder stipulations than when I went in.
Hmm.
It
Hmm.
doesn't make any sense. Like why would I be punished more for being a good boy?
Yeah. So next week you go to Chicago, you said.
Yeah, so this Thursday at 1:30 in the Hammond Courthouse, I'm doing a change of plea hearing, or I'm doing hearing with the change of plea, and basically I'm agreeing to this contract because my wife can't take this anymore. So they wore me out and they wore my family out to the point where I'm just,
What's the contract?
it's basically saying I'm guilty for everything they said I've done, and they're
And the consequences, either you go to,
I get 87 months of prison time is the maximum amount they can give me.
hmm,
I may end up just getting a bracelet and supervised release. That's what I'm hoping for.
yeah,
It makes no sense to put me in prison. I've never been arrested. I have no violence in my background, and I don't,
yeah,
you know, I don't pose a threat to society whatsoever.
yeah. So back to your book, I guess I'm just curious, why do you think someone like myself should read it as an investor? I'm in finance. I find the cannabis industry interesting, and I find Bitcoin interesting. How are you tying everything together there? If you are, maybe you're not. Maybe they're just separate sections of the book.
They're separate, but they tie together. Basically, it just goes into uh, the history of cannabis, how it became illegal,
Yeah.
a little bit. To be honest, I wrote it so long ago when I was reading it. I would know a little more if I reread it because I've forgotten a lot of what I wrote, but it's very much leaning towards Bitcoin on both fronts. Um, but it goes into mainly just the big picture, like a little and the history. A lot of the history is where I gravitated towards. I think in the first and second year that I was writing, and towards the last one, I think it was more so just my thoughts about stuff,
Hmm.
the topics, and it's kind of just a hodgepodge of of my thoughts. I don't know.
Yeah.
I'm not very good at selling it right now because I don't know. It's just more of a lay person's book if you want to learn about Bitcoin in a not so pedantic way. Like it's
Yeah.
more just writing. Like if I'm sitting here talking with you, just conversing, it's more like a conversation with the reader. He just
Yeah.
it's written in regular prose, like just because I'm not an author. This is my first book, so it's more.
Yeah, that's okay. But I'm just wondering, are you tying in, like you said, cannabis is kind of like a free market, and like that's what I see Bitcoin as, is as like a free market too. I wonder if there's some tie in there.
Yeah, there is. There's definitely tie-in, and that's also what helped me see Bitcoin is um,
Being in that industry.
the market. Yeah, the think of cash. Bitcoin is very much a digital cash because you can be pseudonymously anonymous and buy and sell weed with it if you wanted to. Like, say you were buying weed in Northern California and selling it in Southern California.
Yeah.
You don't even have to use cash anymore. People don't realize this, but you know, in America, because it's federally illegal, and this could all change like this year because of the rescheduling, and I think that's what Trump wants to do, so he can control and get more money out of the industry. but you have to use cash, like physical paper cash. If you're buying weed in Northern California and selling it to a dispensary down in Southern California, it doesn't matter if it's $500,000 worth of weed. You have to have that much cash to go buy it and then transport it. So you're talking armed vehicles. When it's not necessary, all you'd have to do is make a text transaction through Bitcoin, send 500 grand, and there you go. I'll you
Yeah.
you send me the weed, I'll send you the Bitcoin on arrival. That's how
I was
simple it
looking for the bricks trucks, like the stock. You remember what's that stock called? The
is.
armored trucks.
Oh,
Yeah,
Brinks.
Brinks.
Yeah,
Brinks stock. So when marijuana got, I guess the Supreme Court said it could be legal, right?
yeah,
That stock like shot up.
yeah.
You remember?
I remember that. I remember talking about that because Colorado, it was big. They were using it big.
Yeah.
There were two
It's
companies. I can't remember the other one.
well, guess what? Brinks is hitting an all-time high. And it's up 76% in the last 5 years. And it's up, man, it has been around since 1986, according to Google. Is that true? Or is that just because no, it's probably been around before that, of course.
Yeah,
Yeah. But
yeah. Those are very
yeah,
important pieces to the puzzle in the weed industry. There's
ticker BCO.
That's why the weed industry. That my wife is um, she makes a lot of good points. Like weed brings the shady characters because there's cash around.
Hmm.
Cash, if somebody's uh, you know, known to have lots of cash, they're probably more likely to get robbed.
Yeah,
You don't, that's why people go to the banks to rob. They know that's
right.
what money is.
So the tie-in, more of a tie-in. Is there anything else we can tie in? Like a
Um, yeah, it's basically if weed, money, or myself interest you, you'll find the book. Well, I hope you'll find the book entertaining. It's
yeah.
not. You'll learn about the history. You'll learn how much I love the government. Now that's a joke.
Hmm.
I'm being sarcastic, but you'll learn about my story and the story of Bitcoin money and just how to just think of it differently. Because the number one thing to getting a hold of a really good investment is to have an open mind. It's not just with Bitcoin; it could be with stocks, anything. If you have an open mind towards investments, if you hear someone out and then you can wrap your brain around it and put some money into it, that's how a good investment happens. It's just a matter of keeping an open mind and understanding or comprehending what the person's talking about because
Yeah.
you're never gonna you're never gonna hit a home run if you close your mind to all the investments out there.
Yeah. I know. Like Peter Schiff is dancing on everybody's Bitcoin's grave, but I mean he was still wrong if you look at a certain time frame, like 3 years. It's like,
Well,
you know,
he looks good today because gold is his shtick, but we'll see where he's at in 20 years. I think he's 62. He's about 62, 63 years old. So, when he's 80 to 83 years old, we'll see where he's at. I mean,
yeah.
gold $30 trillion market cap.
Yeah.
Bitcoin's way better of a currency, way better of a store of value, and it's not even a $2 trillion market cap.
Hmm.
So there's 30x, right? I mean, there's 15x right there when people just figure out Bitcoin's better than gold as a money, as an investment, as all that stuff. So there's no hiding that fact anymore. It's just a matter of people educating themselves. People are busy. They don't care about this stuff.
No.
People just
Yeah.
want to go to work and go home and watch some Netflix,
Yeah.
eat some bonbons, and maybe cook
Yep.
frozen pizza or
It's true though. Yeah. I mean, it's true. I saw some economists give a hour-long presentation at a commodities conference, and not once did he mention gold, which I thought was so crazy.
the number one money commodity in the world.
Not once did he mention gold. He didn't mention the $40 billion of monthly liquidity that the Federal Reserve is injecting by buying short-term treasuries. He didn't mention anything about Fannie and Mae buying the mortgage-backed securities.
Have you heard about natural gas in the last 2 days?
Yeah,
It's gone
have
up
I heard about it? Yeah,
25% and then 21% today. That's
yeah.
almost 50% in 2 days.
Yeah. Before these weather, this Arctic weather, it was revving up because of all the data center demand. Like people
No,
caught on, like natural. Like I think some of it's speculation that natural gas is the winner for the energy for data centers. But then we have this Arctic blast roll through where I live, and yeah, yeah, it's crazy.
that's
I
that.
I bought XLE.
Oh,
Uh,
okay. How's that doing?
well, I didn't buy enough for it to matter, so I don't really care. But yeah, I think it's about to hit all-time highs if you look at a chart. Really, it's just like you buying Chevron and Exxon. It's pretty much the proxy for Chevron, Exxon, but they have a good portion of natural gas exposure. Um,
Do you post
so
your portfolio weekly?
do I
Or
what?
do you post your portfolio? I saw your portfolio not too long
I
ago.
I don't do it
Weekly or
consistently like that.
you
No,
should
I
do it
don't do.
once a month at least because it's
Yeah, I
really
want to
great.
do that.
Yeah, I like checking it out and then just
Yeah, well, on days like yesterday, I don't want to post it, right?
that's you should be humble. Humble, stay humble, stack sats and start
Yeah,
looking that self custody stuff because
yeah,
these people man, this IBIT, I'm starting to get real leery of the
yeah,
MSTR, the IBITs of the world. Like I don't know.
yeah,
I see this ending well.
yeah. Well, hopefully, yeah, it's true. You gotta own the hard asset. You
Well,
can't, you gotta own the asset.
you got enough in that camp, so diversification would tell you, well, why wouldn't I take custody of my gold? Why would I keep my
Yeah,
gold with them? That's how the bank started. That
yeah,
was, gold was basically stored at the bank. They would write you a little uh, check that says, "Hey, this guy's got this much gold," and then they started using that as money, and that's kind of how
yeah,
it to this point. So
yeah. You're really not like an investor of Bitcoin if you buy IBIT. You're kind of just like a trader.
yeah,
It's
yeah,
another way to think about it.
exactly. That's
You
pretty.
know.
You can't. The best thing about Bitcoin is as soon as you get that money, you're sovereign with it. You can send it to anyone. You can't send
Yeah.
it to someone.
Yep. It becomes functional. Yeah.
It's a functional money. It's a
Yeah.
functional asset. Like you can't send your, you know, 3 ounces of gold to your buddy over in Zimbabwe or
Yeah.
even I'm in California. Would I mail you, 3 ounces of gold? But I could text you 3 ounces
Yeah.
of Bitcoin.
Well, could you convert it to a tokenized asset like that trades 24/7 and then send me that paper gold that way? And then I could therefore convert it to hard gold? These are the questions that I think the market has because, that takes some of the juice out of what Bitcoin was so made it so cool. Is if you tokenize gold to a 24/7 asset, digital gold, it kind of takes a little bit of the juice out of Bitcoin. I think that's part of the reason we're in a bear market. you know, and I don't think the 24/7 thing, New York Stock Exchange, I don't think any of this stuff matters to Bitcoin's fundamentals, but I think it's in the back of people's mind. They're finding excuses to get out of Bitcoin, you know, like short-term renters, we call them. They're like traders. So, you know, Bitcoin's in a bear market and everything else isn't, and that's okay. It's just been like that. We have to accept it.
Yeah. I guess I don't see Bitcoin as in a bear market because when I got involved with it, it was in its like 60,000 range, which was the highest it had ever been. Like 69,000 was it. Even when I was in the Huskow for that 4.5 months, I got into a debate with a guy. I'm like, no, Bitcoin hit 69,000. And he's like,
Hmm.
it never went that high. And I'm like, yeah, too. And so then, but I was buying it and all the way down into, it went all the way down to like 16,000. And then
Yeah.
started going up when I was getting out of the Huskow. I remember the ETF got launched in 2024, right when I was that January when I was leaving MCC, and it was just going up and up and up. But now it's sitting
I
right
know.
around 90,
Yeah.
which is so much higher than the
Yeah, it's
era
almost
I got in
double.
with it.
My
It
my yeah, you know, I kind of got into Bitcoin like after you. I don't remember what year it was, like 2022 or something like this, but my average cost on Robinhood, it's not owning Bitcoin because it's on the exchange, so it's naughty of me. But my average cost is 50. So,
okay.
you know, I and then on Coinbase, my average cost is probably around 50. And then on Strike and then IBIT, my average cost is much higher because those are, you know, the ETF just came out, you know. So
Well, Strike, that's real Bitcoin. You can take
that's what
that.
you say, but I thought it isn't until I get it into self storage.
Well, yeah, but he's sitting there holding your Bitcoin, and
Okay.
you have a wallet on your Strike app.
Okay.
You can walk into Steak and Shake tomorrow
Sure. Hmm.
and buy yourself a shake and a fry
With the
from
code, with the QR code.
with your Lightning wallet that you have
Oh,
on Cash App. So that's actual Bitcoin. It's just you're letting Strike custody your Bitcoin until you bring it into a
I
self.
understand. I didn't know that.
Yeah, it's
I
pretty
didn't
cool.
know that.
I like to keep a little bit of money on Strike because that's actually I used a Bull Bitcoin app at Steak and Shake when I was back there, and it
No.
didn't work for whatever reason because I'm new to the app and I didn't really. I might have been using Liquid, not Lightning, but it didn't work. So then I quickly switched to my Strike app and I bought it with the Lightning app there because it's
Yeah. No.
yeah,
Yeah.
you can move it through Lightning, so it's almost basically free to move your Bitcoin around
Yeah.
almost.
So like we talked about Jack Dorsey's Square Block, like
Yeah,
I can use it there too. I can use
yeah,
the
yeah.
Strike app,
I think
scan it.
I haven't used Cash App as much like that, but I'm pretty sure
Oh, Cash App.
Cash
Oh,
App is
you
is
need the Cash
that
App to
good.
do it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Cash App is they have a Bitcoin wallet inside there too.
Yeah, yeah. But
So
Robinhood and Coinbase, they also have wallets, but it's not really wallets, is it? They're not,
yeah,
it's not functional. Yeah.
I'm not sure. I never used those.
Yeah.
Coinbase is anyone that uses more than Bitcoin, like when they start trash coining, I steer
Yeah.
clear. I don't like them.
Yeah. Yeah.
I think that's where the fugazis come in.
Yeah.
Trouble.
All right. Well, hey, good luck next week. You know, I don't know if I don't hear from you. I guess that's means I'm not gonna hear from you for a while. I don't know. I
So
mean,
it's basically sentencing is May 6th. I'm doing the change of plea hearing on the 29th, which is Thursday. And so
okay.
they may take me into custody until my sentencing, which would be
Okay.
or so days. But if not, then I'll come back on the podcast if
Yeah, just text me.
let me out. Yeah, I'll text you. I'll have my phone.
Yep. Yep.
And
Um,
hopefully you'll be able to buy my book on Amazon next week.
On Selling Weed,
Yep.
authored by David Winchell,
Yes, I haven't got the subtitle ironed out
and
yet.
all bookstores near you, or just
It'll,
Amazon.
it'll be at Barnes and Noble before you know it. No,
Yeah. Yeah, you never
no, it's a
know.
really cool.
It could catch fire, you
Oh,
know.
the cover's really cool. Like the cover.
Nice. Okay.
Gotta
I'll
say.
uh I'll look out for it.
Yep.
Or send me a link if
Send
it
you a
comes out.
copy too. Maybe.
Yeah.
I'm
A
not really
signed
sure.
copy, autographed.
Yeah, that would be tough, especially from the Who Scout. But
Yeah. All right. Yeah, I'll post this on Friday morning, which would be the 23rd of January. Thank you so much for coming on. Good luck with everything, and thanks again.
yeah, thanks for having me, man. I
Yep.
appreciate it,
Thank you.
and I'll see you next time. I'll see you
All
on the
right.
other side.
Sounds good.